You know we're not seeing your B-roll screen either, right?
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Enter ChazmaN here, and we are back once again with another episode of the EnteR podcast. That's right, your absolute favorite place on the interwebs to hear dummies talk about video games very badly for 2 hours every night, or every episode, I should say.
Every night. No,
Every night? Oh,
don't give me that kind of schedule.
Is that-
Don't
is
work
that-
me that hard, Chaz.
Is that too
yeah,
much?
please. We don't get paid that much.
Cracking down on these guys. I
Yeah.
gotta get my
Not at
money's
all.
worth. No overtime. No more overtime.
No, I think you're overpaid right now, Chaz.
So real quick, yeah, if you guys didn't see, we had our second annual ChatZ Award, so please feel free to go check that out if you guys wanted to see any of our distinctions for the favorite game, anything we had kind of going on. I guess I will have one kind of announcement that will be happening per next episode. We did decide to finally make this podcast its own channel on YouTube, so this will probably be the last one on my channel. Woo! So yeah, anyone
Oh,
looking
you haven't
for...
switched it over to the new channel yet?
No, because I'm still
Just
filling in everything over there. But yeah, next episode will be over there, starting from ground zero. So yeah, real quick, just to get into some of the topics that we have.
Two of our fans.
I'm sure they will happily follow us over there, right? Who's
Yeah,
a
I'm sure
fan?
your mom and your cousin will subscribe over there too.
You got to start somewhere. All right. So yeah, so we're gonna be talking about some game. Well, a game. I guess it sounds like these guys have been kind of slacking. Talking about a game. We got a kind of a mix-up that we're gonna be doing with highlights from the Hoard, and we'll start doing that this episode. We've got some very meaty, nice subjects for speedrun topics, and then of course, one of my favorite things that we've kind of been doing is what our high score Olympics. That was one of my favorite things we did last year. We're going to be kind of getting that going, and I almost called you by your name. MetalGamer is going to be coming up with my with his punishment towards me for my being bad.
Chaz is trying to get you doxxed.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, he's going to be throwing up your social here in the middle of the stream and
Totally shit.
GPS coordinates.
I don't like the idea.
So yeah, once again, these are my buddies MetalGamer and Phoenix, my co-hosts here on the ChazmaN podcast. So how have you guys been? It's another year of you guys coming out of, what is it? What was the old thing? The basement or the attic? What was the old adage?
No, I think I was the basement, Metal was the attic, and man, I don't know. How long have we been doing this thing now? It's been like, is it a year and a half? 2 years? Man, I totally thought when I agreed to do this, it'd fizzle out in like 3 months and I'd be off the hook, but here I am. So,
Womp womp.
no. But no, I mean, the new year has been starting out pretty good. I've been, trying to be a better person. I went to the gym today, so, all strong. Trying to stop procrastinating in life.
Our
which,
buddy Kyle's starting to
good
rub
thing.
off on you.
Yeah, exactly. But don't worry. I'm sure the next couple of weeks I'm going to fall back into a pit of self-loathing and depression, so I'll be normal again. Probably a good thing. I think I'm better at criticizing games when I'm a little more sad, so we'll see.
What about you, Gamer? I know you've had kind of a rough day, but luckily you're here kind of strengthening through it. He was willing to join us.
Yeah, I'm in the last portion that he said. All of the depression and all of the other
Self-loathing and depression.
Self-loathing and depression.
Oh.
So yeah, about that. Yeah, I'm not as cool. I'm not going to no gyms, no nothing. I'm not cool like that.
He's been listening to Radiohead all day.
Yeah.
I'm a creep.
On repeat.
What the heck am I doing here?
I do want to play more games though, but life gets in the way.
Get to see a stars, man. That's still on Game Pass. And they just
I still want it on the Switch though.
They just put the newest Assassin's Creed on Game Pass too today. So there's like a whole Valhalla.
The newest one, Mirage?
Or is
That's
it?
not the newest.
No, Valhalla. I think it was.
Mirage is the newest.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Valhalla.
But Valhalla, from what I understand, is like a huge 40, 50-hour game too.
Apparently too huge. I remember I was like the big kind of controversy about it. Like, I mean, the game was fine, but it was like 90 hours of Assassin's Creed, and like I don't think anybody signed up for that. But yeah. To each
People
their
like
own.
it.
I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since, man,
What,
I think I played
2013?
3. I played 3, and I played part of Black Flag. I tell you, like, I did the whole get my ship, be a pirate, and I kind of just didn't do any of the story missions after that. I just kind of sailed around, trying to take over other ships for the rest of the time. So
I've heard people say Mirage is the first like return to form of Assassin's Creed in terms of like it's the first time it's felt this way since like 3 or something. From what I understand, it's a much smaller, more basic, I guess, streamlined kind of game. You know?
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you, the base mechanics of those games were always fun. Like, the ones I played, I never didn't like playing them. I think it just, at the time, kind of got burnt out. And I think over time, it's probably what happened to everybody else. The games kind of ballooned and had too many extra mechanics. So to hear that they kind of simplified things, that's good. Maybe I'll get a chance to hop back into it.
I was kind of interested. I know people are like kind of 50-50 on it. This isn't an Assassin's Creed topic by any means. Apologies. But
it is now.
But
Ezio. Ezio.
I was so interested in I need to check out Odyssey, because that's the one I've heard from people saying it turns into like a crazy mythological like RPG, which is like, I don't know.
I started that one. I think my wife was wanting to watch it, so I like kicked off first hour. I think this is, I don't know if this is the first one, but this is I think when the game started to balloon, and when I got to the map, it saw how big it was, and the whole Ubisoft 1,000 points you could go to. I'm just like, nah, I'm good, man. So I just kind of backed out of it. I don't know. There was a period, I'm still kind of in that period where those big games are just too daunting for me. I don't know. Trying to coincide that with life can be hard, and I know Metal can certainly understand that.
I would definitely, like, we've talked about it, but I would definitely recommend 16 or Baldur's Gate 3 if you're going to start one of those big games, because I have a feeling if you don't like 16, that'll be an easy one for you to, like, give up on after 10 hours if you're not vibing with it. You know what I mean?
I don't think I'd give up on it. For understanding, though, 16's not that big of a game. Like, as far as Final Fantasies go, it's
30.
Like, what?
It's like 30,
really
30
short.
hours. 30, 35.
30 hours isn't bad. Now, when I say daunting game, like 30 hours, I mean, I guess for many that's still a longish game, but I think that's relatively reasonable. I kind of feel like it's getting to standard now. When I think about Baldur's Gate 3, though, and I hear 150 hours, I'm like, hold up. I, like the cold sweat start. I start reimagining my time with like Persona 5, and it just, I don't know. You have to have some commitment for those kind of games, and right now, I don't know if I'm quite there. But topic for another time.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so kind of diving right into it, I guess we'll go right into the only game we really have on the dock for this week.
It's a good one. It's one we haven't really had a good chance to talk about. We've all played
you
it
talked
now,
it. Well, no, I think Phoenix you talked about it, but that was only you by yourself, and I don't think Gamers played it, so I think me and you.
Oh, well, never mind.
I want to play it.
Well, I am curious about your.
You could borrow my copy, Gamer, next time you come down. I mean, I don't care. But yeah. So I finally got to kind of play it. I tried to. I don't know. I was feeling in the mood after knocking out Super Mario RPG. After I don't know, it was kind of my other holiday game that I kind of chose to play, so I chose this game. I wish I would have watched your impression video prior to this, so I could have seen what topic
stolen my opinion.
Yeah, we'll seen what stuff you already like nailed on, but ultimately I ended up thinking it was very fun. I very much enjoyed it. It's not exactly the most it's not like a huge gigantic leap in evolution for Mario to me. Like, it has the added, what is it, the Wonder Seeds? That's like the one big game mechanic that's kind of unique and kind of brings this game its own kind of flavor, I guess. And ultimately I felt like it was fun. It does enough, I guess, with that one game mechanic, but I guess for me, the one big thing I took away from this game is it ended up feeling, I don't know, I don't want to say bland, but it ended up, I don't know, it didn't feel as different as like 3D World or anything. I don't know, I don't know. When I think back, going back to 3D World, I felt like there was more variety in terms of the different worlds, and each world didn't just look different, but it like almost functioned differently. And I feel like they tried to do that here, but it wasn't, for me, it just wasn't enough. I don't know. But
Interesting.
you,
I mean, there's parts of that I agree with. I don't know. I'm hesitant to call this bland. I think by the very nature, it's hard to call this game bland. Like when I think of a bland Mario game, the new Super Mario Bros. Comes to mind, right? I think that's why a lot of people kind of fell off 2D Mario for a real long time. Like, what is it on the Wii? Is that when New Super Mario Brothers first kind of came out? I
Came
think
out for the
so.
3DS, but
I don't even think I played that one, to
I
be
think it
they
honest.
was Wii
they
first,
did a
and then
Wii
they had like
version.
and then there was a 3DS version. There were two 3DS versions, I think. I can't recall exactly. Then there was a
Mm.
Wii U version. Like there was a lot of new Super Mario Bros. As far as like the 2D Mario. And I'll tell you, I think that already kind of started out a little bland. It was kind of like the I don't know, just the generic version of Mario, if that makes sense. And I think that art style and kind of gameplay kind of stretched for a really long time. So honestly, going from that to this, it's a pretty big breath of fresh air. I thought the wonder mechanics were good. I thought there was good variety in the levels. Like the levels wasn't, or at least the level design was never my issue with the game. Honestly, I enjoyed my time with it. I can't remember exactly what I commented on prior, and I don't want to retread too much ground. I think my biggest issue with the game is there were a lot of comparisons to it, to Super Mario World,
Mm-hmm.
which is fair. And I think maybe it's just that little bit of I don't want to say like review bias, like or maybe a bit of hype. Like you hear that, like for me, Super Mario World is still my favorite Mario. Like 3 and World are kind of like right there next to each other.
I feel
So
like
when I hear this is
nostalgia
like
world is, yeah, purely nostalgia reasons.
like I guess my thing is like when I hear that, it gets me relatively excited to play this because I'm like, okay, it's the next kind of reincarnation of Mario World, and it's not. So I think that just kind of dropped me down a little bit. Like it's good. And there's definitely like notes that do hit that Super Mario world. I'm sorry, yeah, Super Mario World feel, and even like the aesthetic, I think almost matches a little bit better. But when I think about Mario World, like what I always take away from it, maybe it was because I was a kid and I was kind of blown away at it at the time, like the secrets and like the mystery. Like it was hard to find secret exits. Like you didn't just stumble upon them. Like the game didn't just say, "Hey, there's a secret exit over here." You had to work and explore. Like I actually went back and played Mario World a couple of years ago to say like I'm going to go through and 100% it. I found exits I didn't even know existed. I played that game like ad nauseum for decades at this point. So this game it
If
tries to do that kind of stuff, but it holds your hand a little too much. Maybe that's what you mean by bland. Like everything still feels kind of safe. I think the game kind of went to
maybe
this
safe, yeah, maybe
point where they
safe is a
want to
better
make
word.
everything
Yeah.
very balanced and accessible, which is great from a gameplay perspective. Like you have characters you can play as that literally can't die except for falling down a pit. So if you're playing like want to play with my daughter, that's great. But like there's a lot of little notes like that. I think put together, I don't know, it did feel like it was missing that's something. I don't know, that mystery or the exploration aspect, maybe. I also felt like it was missing the difficulty aspect. Like Mario World could get very hard, especially when we got to some of the special worlds and whatnot. Nothing in here. I mean, I didn't play the very last level yet. I know there's like a gauntlet level again where they kind of put you through the paces. None of the primary levels I thought got real tricky. They're all moderately challenging at best for those who are familiar with, Mario games.
Like really, yeah, I would agree with you. Difficulty wise, I didn't think anything, and I'm like, I am not skill man, video gamer McGee. I am like, I'm the worst of the
That should be a
worst
new
when it
channel.
comes to like,
Skillman McGee.
I am the worst when it comes to like, I don't know, skill oriented games. But even for me, I don't think this was that brutal. There was, you're right though. I'm trying to remember. There was up in the clouds. There was like a hidden area where you had to approach it from like you have to approach it from three different directions, and once you beat each of those, then you unlock something in the very middle.
Yeah, it's a
Those
special world.
external three things were like by far the hardest things in the game, and I think only one of them I didn't beat. And but I mean, I don't know.
And
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
agree
even
with you.
think they were that hard. On the scale of Mario, like 2D Mario difficulty, they're mostly mid-ish too. There's a couple of ones I'd say are honestly challenging. And once again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn either, but I think if you play Mario games like relatively extensively, like you played most of them, you spent a little bit of time with them, you're not going to encounter many like high difficulty spikes here, which is fine. I think for those who are wanting that though, I don't know, it's a little lacking. And as I said, I think the game just holds your hand a little too much. Like you can go back to every level and it highlights what you missed, like in
Hmm.
great detail. It tells you pretty much is there a secret exit and did you find it? Which I didn't like that. I don't know. Like it's nice for those who I guess are trying to find an easy way to complete a game, but as it takes away the mystery. I like just trying to fly up in a weird area of the map, and then I find a key, and I can find the keyhole later on. Once again, Mario World kind of stuff.
That may
But this
have
game doesn't quite do that all the time.
that may have been the only purpose for those little flowers being there, because every time you run by one, if you're missing something, one of them will say, "Hey, are you missing something? Oh, you
Look
forgot
up
something.
there.
Oh, look up." Yeah,
I know.
it's um, I will say that's the one of the probably the biggest thing for me that I enjoyed from this game is like Mario games are always kind of cutesy and adorable and stuff, and I felt like this one had a ton of personality, which that's by far probably the thing I enjoyed the most was
Mhm.
hearing all of the like it had a lot of musical sections which were really cool. Um, but yeah, those were fun. I mean, every time you kind of activate a Wonder Seed, you get the gosh, I forgot the sound that pops up. It says no, never. I'm not even gonna try. But I don't know. That was by far the best thing I took away at least. I'm surprised though you don't think the areas were bland because I feel like we've seen some of these like sections on like the
Maybe it's the
board
art style.
before.
Okay, so yes, I mean
But I guess you could say that for
they
every
were really
Mario game.
refreshed. Yeah, like okay, so like you had the lava world, which that's standard in every Mario game,
Pink
but
Cloud
this one was
World
done a
and
little different. It was
Desert.
like,
Yeah.
underground, which I thought was cool. The desert had like a palacey kind of thing built in. I don't know, it was not like completely different, but it wasn't exactly the same either. It was a refresh, is what it was. I'm not gonna say it reimagined everything, but honestly, for me, just the change in art style helped a lot. I really like this
I
almost like
liked the art
not
style.
quite
Yeah.
painted, but I don't know. It really fit well. It made everything feel a little more happy. I don't know if that's maybe the best qualifier there, but I don't know. It felt good to play. It looked good to play. One thing I wish I would have spent a little more time with were the badges. Like, there's like three categories of badges you can get. Some that make the game easier, some that give you more like skill-based
Mm-hmm.
modifiers, and then some that's plain made the game hard. Like you could, I guess this is
It's
where
like
if you want
skull,
more
like the skull
difficulty,
modifiers in Halo or something.
yeah. And I guess maybe that's where Nintendo thought that people who want the difficulty are going to get it from. They turn on some of these badges, but I thought some of them were a little too gimmicky to want to use them at that level. Like one turns you invisible as a character, so you had to just kind of figure out where you were on the level, which, yeah, that made it hard, but I wouldn't want to play many levels like that. So I don't know. But I
I,
think the idea to have those badges was fun.
and I guess I will say like another mild disappointment. I guess for me would be like some of the boss battles weren't. I don't actually now that I think about it. None of
Oh,
the boss
yes.
battles were at hard at all. Like the Bowser Jr.
They were
sections
almost
were.
all baby Bowser, Bowser Jr., like, besides Bowser at the end, which at
He
the end,
wasn't that
you're
hard
pretty much just
either.
fighting him in castle form. Yeah, it was
Hmm.
all Bowser Jr. fights, and those were not great. I was really hoping we'd see how the Koopalings return, or I don't know, something else. I think you're right, the boss battles, especially when I compare it to Mario World, which I mean, not all of them were incredible, but there was variation to all the boss battles, and you had like mini bosses like Reznor, wasn't it? And was it King Boo was kind of floating around? And like you had some cool things to find and fight. This game didn't have much of that, so that once again was a little bit lacking.
Now that I think about it, there were a couple sections that stood out to me. I gotta try and remember. I remember one of them is Mario. I think with a Wonder Seed, he actually turns into a what is it? What are the little mushroom fellas? Is it a Koopa? Just a
Oh,
Koopa,
the
right?
Goomba, yeah.
Goomba. There you go. There's actually a fun one where you actually turn into a Goomba and you can only jump like this high and you can only move like a mile an hour. That was pretty fun. There was one in particular I remember, a couple in particular, where like you get constantly rained down of stars, and like
Mhm.
it's all dependent on your skill to like keep your star power going all the way throughout them. I don't know. There was a couple like standout ish ones like I thought were pretty fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think nerfs this or kind of neuters the experience a little bit if you spent any time with it. The Mario Maker games, like if
I was
you
gonna
really
mention
dug
that
into
earlier.
those.
I forgot about them.
Like, I think this game did a good job of trying to introduce some new mechanics that don't exist in those Maker games. But if you're, I don't know, for the past, well, however long, a decade now since we've had those games, we've kind of become spoiled because you have millions of people now, maybe not millions, I don't know how big the player base is anymore, but a huge community that's constantly still coming up with crazy ingenious levels. Like I got really big into watching a lot of Mario Maker players for all like Pooh Bear and stuff like that. Like there's some cool stuff they do and some cool levels that they get into that
Well, you can
this game is visually new, but mechanically I still think stuff in that is done better, more interestingly.
just find like your perfect medium of like, are you looking for crazy difficulty? Then you can find that. Are you looking for downright wacky? You can find that. Or are you looking for easier levels? And it's like you get like your perfect
They
balance
have
of
like
what you want.
puzzle things in there, escape rooms, like it's gone crazy. If nobody here has ever checked out the Mario Maker community, like if you don't like playing Mario, watch some of these streamers, some of the stuff they do. There's some crazy levels out there, and it really makes you kind of reimagine what a Mario game can be to a certain
I bet
extent.
you
So
those games. I bet you those games 20 years from now are still gonna have communities like the Mario
yeah, as
Makers.
long as there's some level of support there, right? As long as like servers don't go down and whatnot. I mean, I think people still play Mario Maker 1, even though 2's out, because there's certain the mechanics that has. So I think Mario, at least from Nintendo's perspective, is always going to have a bit of an uphill battle now, trying to top those games, because now they're trying to fight the creativity of their entire player base, right? So I think they did a good job here. It definitely took it in some cool ways. There are some cool new mechanics they introduced here. I either want to see them double down on stuff like this a little more next time. Definitely bring back some of the mystery that I think it was lost in this game, and I don't
Was
know. I think there's definitely room to still grow with this art style and
was
whatnot. So I
Elephant
want to see them
Mario a
do.
new thing? Or was that
Yeah,
previously? Oh, okay.
no, it's new. I thought Elephant Mario was fine. I wasn't my favorite power up by any means. Man, I want the cape to come back. Man, it's just my Mario World bias coming through, but I don't know. I definitely want to see where they take this. I'm not sure if I want to see a Mario Wonder 2 necessarily. I think I'd just like to see them refresh it again and keep the whole ball moving as far as trying new stuff. But this was a good, solid entry.
Yeah, it was a bit short. I feel like I finished it under 10 hours.
That's about regular length though for a Mario game. I mean, if not even a little long in some cases. Like if you're playing every level, trying to find all the exits. Like I went back and I just about 100%ed all the levels. There's only one or two I didn't, and it probably took me I don't know, maybe 15 hours. So not a huge game, but I don't think any 2D Mario game's ever been overly lengthy.
The cool thing about Mario for me is that I don't know, when I was younger, Mario was never a franchise I was big on. Like when I was big in Nintendo, I was always a Pokemon guy. Pokemon was always the ones I was playing when I was younger. And for some reason the Marios I played in small portions but never got big into 3 or World or even Super Mario Land, which is one of my more favorite ones. I liked it, but it wasn't. I don't know. The cool thing is, in the last like handful of years, I feel like maybe I'm becoming more of a child the older I get. I think I'm aging in
Oh,
reverse.
that's for sure.
I'm aging in the opposite direction. But
I get what you're saying.
I'm enjoying Mario games more than I do when I was younger. Like now, it's like I can sit down with Wonder and have a good time, or I'll play RPG. I loved 3D World when I played that with Bowser's Fury. Like I don't know, I'm getting far more joy out of Mario now than I did when I was a kid, which I think that says something cool about Mario.
Oh, sure. No, Mario, I think, just has this universal appeal. Like, I was definitely quote unquote more hardcore into Mario when I was younger. That's probably the wrong
Yeah,
term to use. But I played, I think partly is like when
my
you're a
Mario
kid, you only have like
tattoo.
3 games, right? Yeah, like my first game on the Super Nintendo was Mario World. I woke up, my mom had it up and running, so when I woke up, I could just hop in. I'm still mad because she like played the first level and beat it without me being awake. But I played that game like until my fingers bled. Just about found every secret. Well, I
Yeesh.
thought I found every secret, but I don't know. Nowadays, I like to hop back into Mario. I don't ever spend like, months and months playing the game nonstop like some people will, but I always like when new Mario games comes out. It's a fun week or so. I get kind of almost relive my childhood in a way. It's always lighthearted to a certain extent. I don't know, maybe some nostalgia, but Mario's always gonna have like that place in my gamer heart. So
um, I guess something I should have thought about, but like, well, just to throw it out there, when we get to our high score Olympics, would it be fair if you were to like? I just thought about it, but like, even if the game's not announced, could you technically just say my choice for number 3, my number 3 pick is going to be a Mario game that comes out this year? Like, would that count?
Uh,
Or could you say my pick is some random Zelda game I
no,
think that's
that's
going to
too
come out?
vague. You have to know
You have
what
to
game.
know what game it
We can
is.
talk more about it as we get to the Olympics section, but no, I think we
I
have to
just
be a
want to
little
throw that
more
idea,
explicit for that.
idea out while we're talking about Mario.
No. No, any
Oh,
other comments about Wonder?
no, are you any more excited to play it, gamer, or any less?
I like Mario games in general. I just didn't get the money to be able to buy it. Like usually, I'm always on top of it. Phoenix knows I'm like, I should have gotten it day one,
Mm-hmm.
like when it came out. He already knows I'm huge on it. But I didn't get a chance to, so I'll get around to it when I can.
Well, like I
I
said,
know it's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
still
fun.
gonna be there.
They're always fun, no matter how you slice it. Every Mario game I've ever played has been really good.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, except for All Stars for the Wii. But other than that, that's a different story. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always excited to play a Mario game. So
Okay. Well, like I said, next time you're down, you can borrow my copy. Phoenix already has my RPG, so.
Yeah, I'll beat it one day maybe.
Okay, so let's switch on overs. So, a something we were doing before that I feel like we were wanting to kind of have like a rebranding of in some ways was our highlights from the Hoard kind of subject. And kind of previously, what we were doing was we were each kind of choosing an item, and I guess just kind of given like an emotional ties or talking about what it means to us. And me and Phoenix kind of came up with the idea. What might be kind of more interesting is for us, whenever we do this, to do it monthly, and then for us to one of the three of us to, I don't know. I guess it kind of gives us a way to not run through our entire most interesting items, quickly.
Yeah, I think the thought was we were all picking an item every week, and we weren't getting a whole lot of time to really elaborate on it necessarily. And yeah, we were kind of just like very passively or surface level running through some of the stuff in our collection, so you don't get to learn a lot about it, why we like it. So this gives us the chance to let each one of us just pick an item, maybe even give a little more information about the item in case it is something cool from the collection you might not be aware of. Maybe dig into how we got it, why we wanted to get it in the first place, does it mean anything to us, stuff like that. So
That is
kind
true
of
though. Like if
slows things down a little bit.
you're right though that like if we do focus on one item, I don't know. Like you said, it lets us focus in on how we got it. I think that might be interesting. I don't even remember if that was something I
Yeah.
was talking about before.
Yeah, and sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't, but it gives you the space to do so. And it doesn't even have to be one item. I think the other thing we wanted to do is use this as a way to also look at broader kind of subsections of our collection. Like we want to talk about special edition systems, like a collection of games. Like I want to talk about the whole Metal Gear series because I just love Metal Gear so much. It gives you just more room to really, I think, talk about what you love in the collection because we're all major collectors. I mean, you see all the crap behind us. We have
That's all
problems,
green screen. All green
and
screen.
we want to share our problems with you. Oh yeah, just click it behind. I'm sitting in the basement, aren't I? So, but either way, I'm excited to see how this section kind of evolves and changes, and I'm very curious to see what item you chose and what you have to say about it.
Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit about one item that I've shown before, but again, with the whole suggestion by Phoenix, I thought it might be kind of more fun just to kind of reiterate and I guess delve deeper into the item. So the item I chose is I've shown this before, but again, I'm showing my PS1 Slim. Now, this thing is super
That's in good
interesting.
condition too.
Oh,
it's
my
very
PS1
nice.
Not
Slim?
yellowed or nothing. Ooh, I think it's prettier
Ooh,
than mine. I think it
yeah,
looks brand spanking new, man. Nice.
nah. But yeah, I guess to start off with, where I got this thing from was I think I was doing a lone wolf garage sailing day, which that was a handful of years ago. But I went to this older gentleman. I feel like he was probably middle aged, probably like 50, mid 50s, and he had like cleared out absolutely everything in his garage sale outside, and and everything was pretty much gone. It was later in the day. It was probably like, which that's kind of interesting. Like if you go out garage sailing, which Phoenix knows, most of the time you won't find anything past what say 10, 11. past that.
Yeah, by 10 it gets pretty tough. I mean, it happens, but it's rare.
Yeah, I feel like I got this later in the day, so it's probably around then, 10 or 11, so later. And the guy's garage sale was completely, everything was picked off. And then he told me he had a few more items in his garage. Um, I guess I should have been more wary. Who knows? Who knows what he was.
I got some
I
items
got some.
for you, Sonny.
I got some more stuff in my garage. But I went in and he had just like a small little round table with like two items on it. One item, I don't remember what it was, but the other item was a black bag that said PS1 on it. And I was like, what's that thing? And he was like, oh, it's my, I don't remember, some grandchildren or children's video
I
game
don't remember my
thing.
kid's name. I don't know, Michael and Brandon. Just take it.
I think he said his like son went into like the Air Force or something. And I was just like, oh, okay. How much did you want for that? And he told me like $20. And it was cool. It was a
Man,
PS.
his son's gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it was a PS1 Slim, had the game bag, came with the DualShock controller, whole bunch of
And it
cords
comes
and
with a
everything.
monitor.
It had all of the instruction manuals and everything on the inside. So yeah, I was super stoked that day. I got that later in the day, not expecting to find anything. For
Yeah, the pop-up monitor is really awesome because that's a lot harder to come by. Like, I know when I first found the PS1, it was just the console. It took me a while to find one that had the monitor on it.
hmm So real quick, in the future, I feel like for the next ones, I'll be a little bit more. I'm gonna start taking pictures and videos and stuff. But I'm gonna use someone's B-roll to kind of show off a little bit. This is Classic Game Room. They're a big channel, so sorry. I'm not gonna play it. I just play images. I don't want to act like I'm taking their content. But yeah, this is kind of them kind of going through more of the specifics. Um, I guess while I'll show this, I will also. Well, that's them showing the size of it compared to the previous one.
Size. Was this
Um,
curious? I can't recall if there's any other time they did this. Is this like the first mini console? Well, I guess not. The NES did a refresh too. They had the top loader.
NES, yeah, that's
The
one.
I'm trying to think what other systems
I
did. Well, I
feel
guess
like the
okay.
Gen. I
Now
think
I'm thinking. Now I'm thinking about it.
the Genesis did that. I
Sega
think.
did it.
Yeah,
Yeah, Genesis had what 3 models? Okay, so this is not a new thing. So never mind. Forget me. I don't know nothing.
but you are right that like this is something that would like. This is something that would like become a staple with PlayStation. I think hasn't PlayStation had a
Mm.
slim of every single version of their console since this one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just got the 5 slimmed down too now.
hmm Although I would say that one's probably the most unnecessary one. Have you? It's still a huge console compared to the big boy.
Yeah, I actually got to see it in person finally. A little off topic, and it does look smaller. And I like the idea that it's modular now for the optical drive. But yeah, like people just now in the past like what year have been able to even get a PS5. So now have the mini out or the slim seems a little odd. I'm curious before you move forward. How do you feel about the name of this PS1? Because I'll tell you, when I first heard that, it was so confusing, and it's almost harder now. Like if I want to talk about this console, the PS1, and I say PS1, people don't know I'm talking about this. I mean, it's technically the same console, but they picture the original like PlayStation 1. Um, like, do you find that odd or confusing, or is it just me and my crazy mind?
Um, I I don't really. I mean, I guess it is kind of hard to differentiate it other than by looks, but I feel like it's
Especially
fine.
at the time. Like, I think now, I mean, maybe you could say like the other one's the PlayStation Classic and this is the PlayStation 1, but think about, like, was it late 90s when this thing was a thing? Like, and you have the PS1, the PlayStation, and the PS1, the mini. Like, I don't know. That's odd branding. Like, I'm trying to think of something else comparable to that. Like, Xbox One was another terrible name, similar in concept there, but I don't know. I just didn't like that naming. I'm not sure what else they could have done that was better if they could have said PS Mini at that point, but no, just a pet peeve of mine. I'm
No.
sorry.
So just a quick little facts that I was able to find. I'll be honest, I wasn't able to find much on this thing for some reason. Maybe it's just because it was it's not a niche product because it actually sold really well, but for some reason this thing was kind of hard to find like like definitive numbers on. Like I couldn't find that anywhere.
Hmm.
But just a couple basic things. It actually released in the U.S. in 2000, so technically
A late release, yeah.
it was about 5 years after the original PS1, the thick one, had launched. Yeah, it initially launched again with just a more compact design, and it was completely compatible from what I read in terms of all PS1 games. So it didn't leave out any of the titles. Of course, it had a 5-inch LCD screen, and the accessory was released 2 years after the console, and was included in some sort of combo pack. Um, it was eventually sold in stores and then was discontinued in 2004. So really, not that long of a release window. That's only what, 4 years that you could get a hold of one of these things,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny.
When did you say it came out again?
2000. It came out at the same
Well,
time as.
what month?
Oh, I didn't put that. I don't think I have that.
Because I wanted to put some context. I'm pretty sure the PS2. I was pulling it up.
PS2 launched at
PS2
about the
came out in
same time.
2000.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I,
like
I
I think it was October. It says here. Let's see if I can find PS1 release.
yeah, I have where did I
It
have?
just says 2000.
I have down. It said it was very successful for Sony, outselling the PS2 when they both first launched. So at first it outsold the PS2, and then of course
It says
PS2.
July. So like 3-4 months before the PS2, which is an interesting window there. You got to think at that point, like, who were they targeting? I know it sold relatively well, but most people who were PlayStation fans were probably saving up, hyped up for the PS2. I mean, I know I was. I wasn't thinking about buying this thing.
That is
I don't know.
interesting.
It's just interesting to.
Well, because the PS2 is backwards compatible as well, so it's like you're getting ready to you're just putting out a PS1 console 3 months before this next console that can play all of the games on the previous one. I don't know. I get what you're saying about it kind of
I
being
mean,
unnecessary a little bit.
well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's not like an uncommon practice now. Like after a new console comes out, you see them usually try to push out old stock by like dropping the price or sometimes releasing a new model, but rarely because they want you to. And it's good for people who maybe skipped out in a generation. I know there's a lot of gamers who kind of always stay one generation behind, right? Because they want to play kind of those last releases nice and cheap, so they'll go that route. But did they say what the price point was of this console?
That I didn't find. I should have. That I should have pulled up.
Yeah, curious if it was like a big price difference. We don't have to hit on it too much. I know this is a relatively short section, but I don't know. It is an interesting kind of, I don't know, scenario with how they released it so close to the PS2. And I would be curious to see like what the sales numbers were overall because these are hard to come by. Like at least around here, I don't see these things too often. I find regular PlayStations all over the place. I could build a freaking room out of them. But the PS1s, I've only seen 2 or 3 in my time looking.
Trying to find a price. I don't know. That's probably. Oh wait. No,
I
that's
remember that little
current.
thing was like $100 because
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
think it was
at
more
the
than
time, I
100.
think at the time they were competing with GameCube. I could be
No,
wrong.
No, it
GameCube
was
wasn't out yet,
It
was
wasn't
it?
out yet.
N64 and
No, because
Saturn.
PS2 came out.
Okay.
It was. I have it. It was
Well,
competing
you had
against
Dreamcast.
Oh well.
probably
Yeah.
Dreamcast. Yeah,
Dreamcast was out around this time. Yeah.
probably.
Well,
Yeah.
Dreamcast had its own issues happening in 2000
Oh yeah.
or 1999, I
Yeah.
should say. Anyway, that's a different topic for a
Yeah.
different day. Let's not get
So
into
It
that
is.
ball
just
of
the
worms.
last couple things I had. It's just at the time a big deal with this when it launched was it also had another bundle where it came with a DualShock. Came with a white DualShock, which was a big deal. You know, you got like one of the fancy new controllers, newer controllers at the
Yeah.
time. And one of the big selling points of this was, I mean, I guess it's now you probably would call it a selling point because it's missing features. But it was essentially they took away the I/O port, which essentially meant that this wasn't capable of PlayStation Link, which I guess you could call that a downfall versus the Fat Boy. And then as well as by taking all that out, it also was incapable of doing Game Shark as opposed to the bigger console. So
Interesting.
I guess you could say they're more trying to sell you on I guess the maneuverability of it and kind of how small it
The
is and
convenience of it, I imagine, was probably a lower price point. It was trying to catch those who didn't have a PlayStation yet and probably weren't going to get a PS2. And most people who didn't have either of them probably didn't care about those extra ports. They probably weren't going to get a Game Shark right now. They certainly weren't going to mod it and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So,
Yeah.
It's a cool console.
So yeah, that's kind of my my little thing. I feel like next one from future episodes we'll do a lot more with it. I was kind of late to kind of doing some stuff with this one, but Gamer for next month, he's going to be taking on the next one, and that one's going to be very exciting because that's what a couple weeks away from Final Fantasy VII coming out. So I think you're going to have
Maybe I'll give him
possible
some
something.
inspiration.
Yeah. Watch, he's going to talk about Zelda. Choose something weird.
Do it. All right, very cool. Yeah, let us know if you liked this kind of refresh for those who have watched the old highlights versus this one. Do you like this better? Do you miss the kind of, quick short form way we used to do it? But let us know. We always like to make it better, make it more interesting. But I enjoyed talking about this. I think it made it more of a mini topic all in itself. So
I think this is I think this is a bit more engaging. It's just like, hey, I don't know. I think it's more fun because you're diving deeper. Before it was
I enjoyed it more, and really, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yeah. Okay, so excitingly, we're going to be moving on to speedrun topics now. So we've got 6 whoppers for you. I think
they're all relatively old, right?
Yeah, at this
there really hasn't been a whole lot of new news yet since the start of the year. I mean, a couple of little things. There was actually, I know we didn't add it, but just throw it out there. There was a round of layoffs at Unity. So I don't know if you guys saw that.
I saw that. I forgot to add it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We can hit on the old topics. I'm sure it won't be the last set of layoffs we talk about this coming year. So, but a lot of these topics, things we didn't get to talk about much. It kind of happened over the holidays, and although I'm sure every other news outlet has covered it, there's definitely, I think, some meat here that we'd want to go ahead and elaborate on. So, tell us when you're ready to kick things off, Chaz.
Meat. All right. So you guys all set? You all ready to go? We got you. Oh, so I guess I should say we also decided that we're going to try and be more snappy with these, right? So we want to try and, I mean, our high score is 5 and there's 6 here. So if we move correctly, we should be able to beat our high score.
I think the whole goal of this section initially was to make it a little gamified, right? So we want to try to get through as many topics as possible. So every week we're trying to push it, and then I rant and nobody stops me. So we never get past like 4 topics. So hold me to it this time. When you feel like I've elaborated and I've talked too much crap, you tell me to shut up. I won't listen, but you can tell me.
Do it. All right, so here we go. And a 3, and a 2, and I want to sing. Okay, so topic number 1, we're going to be diving into the big Insomniac leaks, if you guys didn't see those. So basically over at Insomniac, I've got a bunch of info, and some of this is kind of, I'm not even, you know what, some of the stuff that's super descriptive as to what's happening, I feel like is unfair to kind of say for Insomniac, because I don't want to skip it, but essentially about a terabyte's worth of information was stolen from Insomniac. And I believe it was some sort of game hacking, like thieving organization or group. I guess they call themselves an organization. But yeah, they basically went in and they stole a terabyte's worth of info, asked for a ransom. As you might expect, Sony or Insomniac was like, "No, we're not going to do that."
It was Sony who wouldn't do it. That wasn't an Insomniac decision.
Was it really? Oh, okay.
To my understanding, maybe I misread something.
Which is probably a good idea. I don't think you ever want to like deal
I don't
with
know.
these.
See, this is actually, I know you probably more you want to hit on, but for me, this is the most interesting point. Like this is relatively common. Like people get data and ransom the company for it. Most companies pay it. Historically, if you go back, like if the company tries to reach out to like, the FBI and ask them, hey, what we should do? People have ransomed our whatever. FBI's like, pay them. Unless it's some exorbitant amount, pay them, because there's a good chance that they can't do anything about it, and the cost of what it's going to be is higher than what you could pay them. And I don't think they were asking a exorbitant amount. I mean,
2 million, it says right here.
Like $1 million,
2 million. 2 million paid in Bitcoin.
Okay. I don't think you should ever hold anybody for ransom. I'm not saying this is good practice, and you don't want to play into what they want because they're just going to do it again. So I get that, but paying $2 million for Sony, not a huge deal compared to now what's happened. So I know there's a lot of ethics there, and as I know you're giving them power, and they could then still go off and I guess release the stuff after the fact. But most of these companies historically, they kind of hold true to their word. Like they will take their ransom money and then just give you back the files and be done with it. They got their payday, they move right along. So I don't know. I think that's interesting. We don't have to debate it right now, but should Sony have paid? I don't know. Protect their employees.
Hmm.
You can keep going.
So as you might expect, as Phoenix was saying, that didn't get paid. So they released basically as much data as they could. And again, I won't say the specifics, but basically what got released was a timeline for 3 X-Men oriented Wolverine games. And not just those games, there's a lot more, but those were the big ones that we kind of see. And we're given like dates, we're given gameplay, we're given early builds that were released. And we also learned that the budget for those 3 games is approximately $120 million a pop. So we're kind of, yeah, they're showing off a lot here. Basic also was showing off was concept art footage, or like I said, early builds of the titles with leaked data. We learn about some new things coming from Insomniac, including Spider-Man. We learn more about Ratchet and Clank stuff. We learned there were emails that came out between Sony executives about them worrying about the Activision Blizzard deal and them talking about how badly it hurts PlayStation. And then possibly the most important and scariest stuff that got released was essentially a bunch of employee information from a bunch of people that worked in Insomniac got dumped, as in like passports, HR documents, emails, etc. Whole bunch of stuff that
That's
like
awful.
is super uncool. Like you would think if you're gonna release all this stuff, that would be the one of the things you would at least hold on to, but apparently they're not cool.
No. Most of them aren't. I mean, they're not cool by definition. The way they're kind of going about this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly, what's most interesting without this, I don't know if we really want to dig into all the specifics, but
No,
there
that's
have
why I
been
don't think it's fair
a
to
huge
like
amount.
go into some of that stuff because it's like
Yeah.
the games come out when they come out to
No,
me. Like I don't care knowing about it when they come out. I'll worry, you know.
well, I guess my point is, we see leaks happen all the time. Where like, I mean, they had the Rockstar leak, where it's like, wow, we're seeing this sneak peek at GTA 6 and terrible demo mode. Like, you see a lot of gameplay stuff kind of leak out. Rarely do you see like the entire plan of the company for the next like decade and a half kind
Mm-hmm.
of be laid out like
Until
this.
like
So, I
2033.
mean, it still sucks, and of course you want to take it all with a grain of salt, but it's interesting for those who are interested in kind of the planning process behind how these companies kind of go about plotting out their games. You can kind of maybe see what their agendas are for what kind of games they're trying to push. You definitely see Sony's hand on this with how they're really coming down on the the Spider-Man slash X-Men side of things. They're kind of honing in on that as a major push over the next 5-6 years. I think that's interesting. So I'd say we don't need to dig into all of it. I think the leak is awful. The fact that it happened at all. I mean, I don't think that really helps anybody. I mean, yes, you can think free marketing to a certain extent. I'm sure a lot of people are in Insomniac's corner here, but the fact that any devs had any of their personal information just released like this just sours this whole thing and really, I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like again, there's so much that came out of it. There's like specific dates for, or not specific, but projected launch dates for some of these games, and it's just like I don't know. When it comes to me, I choose not to look at it. Like when the games comes out, I'll worry about it. Again, you were talking about how a
It
lot of
puts
people,
undue pressure
yeah,
on the developer though now. Like, yeah, like we don't care so much. I would imagine we understand that dates are going to change, and these dates are certainly going to change. But you now have a subset of gamers out there that's already a relatively entitled community or group of people that when September 1st, 2025, yes, I said the date that's in here for one of these games. When that comes around, if the game doesn't come out, they're going to be super mad
mm-hmm,
because this is what it says in the document, which is not fair at all. But as I said, just undue pressure on the developers. I'm hoping this washes over and people do give Insomniac a lot of room to breathe here
mm-hmm.
and hopefully support them as developers considering what they're going through. But it's a crappy situation.
Then you get people that are like, I'll move on, but yeah, you got people that are like, oh, they've played the early builds. This game's crappy. Haha, look at this, and it's like, dude, you're playing
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
like what is beyond alpha? Like what is like beta? Like what is you're playing like the earliest
Yeah. We
form
have
of
like your
this game.
pre-release and your
Yeah.
alphas. Yeah. Yeah. Well, even compared to like the leaked gameplay for GTA 6 we saw a year and a half ago to that trailer we saw for GTA 6, a couple of months ago, like night and day, right? You can't judge pre-release gameplay footage based upon the actual in-game product. So,
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna move on to topic numero dos. Um, Kind of something that I think we were all kind of expecting to happen, but the hammer kind of fell on this one. I had this one dubbed Kang the Conquered.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But basically,
Did you
Disney.
actually come up with that, or did you
No,
steal that from
I came up
somebody?
with that. No, you should hire me.
Clever,
Wow, very punny. I like it.
clever,
Wow.
very clever.
You deserve
Thank
a
you.
follower just for that. Yeah.
No.
Where's my little clap here? Hold on.
So basically, it looks as if Disney
Oh,
and
it's a clap.
Marvel have officially dumped Jonathan Majors from the King the Conqueror role. Not a heck of a whole lot to it. The obviously the biggest question is the ramifications of what does this mean for Marvel. Are they gonna totally dump the King the Conqueror storyline, or are they just gonna hire a new actor? I think they've already begun looking for an actor to fill in his shoes, so it's definitely odd
Metal, have you
times.
watched any of the recent Marvel stuff that has to do with Kang? Like, I'm just out of curiosity if you're in that ecosphere loop at all.
Quantumania was pretty terrible,
Yeah.
and I think,
That was a
if I'm not
movie.
mistaken, he was in that one.
Yeah.
And that
That
was
was kind
bad.
of
That was like nail in the coffin for that one, right?
what was his first reveal as Kang?
Wasn't it Loki? The
I
first
know.
season of
Well,
Loki?
Loki had. Well, he wasn't in the whole season. Like at the. Oh no, you're right. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was there, and they had like a snippet later on. I guess Quantumania might have been the second time he
I think
showed up,
so. Yeah.
and then Loki again the third one. Um, so I've watched Loki. I know you haven't yet, and I liked Majors. Like I thought, honestly, his performances in both seasons were some of the highlights there. I'm a little sad about this, to be honest. Like I wasn't buying into their entire game plan, but I was starting to get a little interested in what they do with King the Conqueror. I don't think he's nowhere near a Thanos level character. Like he doesn't have quite that motivation. They haven't set him up nearly as well. So I mean, it wasn't I think ever going to be quite as good as that. But there was something there, and I feel like now what does Marvel do? Like replacing this guy is actually really hard. Maybe if they hadn't had certain points in other movies, like Quantumanium at the end, shows
All the
all
different
those
ones.
millions of versions. Like it wouldn't one thing if like they all had different faces or something. Like they play that kind of game with like the What If show and whatnot, but they all showed it as Jonathan Majors as every single one of them. To now replace that character feels even harder because that face is just stuck on that character. So I don't know. It's not going to be quite as easy as replacing was it Terrence Howard as Rhodey with Don Cheadle. So
Oh, I forgot about
I
that.
don't know.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but that was so early, like nobody cared so much. Now changing a character like this is hard, especially your main villain. Like this is a real loss for Marvel because they were already having a hard time building momentum. And Loki, I think, did a good job pushing something in a certain direction, and now it's just I've heard rumblings that there have been talks about not either replacing him or shifting gears completely and going with a new villain, like switching
Hmm.
towards Galactus. Because again, you got Fantastic Four as a
I've
thing coming up
heard
before too long.
I've heard rumors of them trying to speed light the Doom, speed lighting into like Fantastic
I heard
Four.
Doom.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about that though. Like I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are tired of Marvel. I think of the Marvel fatigue in particular and the buildup it has. But honestly, it's one of the things I still enjoy about Marvel that they have this buildup of taking this enemy and really making him this, major antagonist towards the end of it. So to have him just be dropped out of nowhere and then get someone new, I don't know. I think it's going to hurt Marvel. It's be hard for them to get any traction there.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think I could add any more. It's definitely like it's just kind of like a sputtering end to like I feel like this is probably the biggest like sputtering end to like maybe the Marvel or the superhero genre in general.
Hmm.
Whereas like DC is totally whiffed, with Aquaman and then this and
Yeah.
I don't know. They have Echo, which is about to come out in a few days, and I don't think anyone's like talking about that one. And I don't know.
I think I'm a little sad too because I fell off the Marvel train pretty hard the past year and a half or so. But over the past like 3 weeks since I've been off, I've been going back and watching a bunch of Marvel stuff. Like, man, I did Loki recently. I watched the whole new What If season 2. I actually enjoyed a fair amount of that.
You watched the
I
Samuel
watched
Jackson
Shang-Chi.
or whatever it was.
I did watch Secret Invasion, and that I could definitely say some things about that. It wasn't all terrible, but it definitely had some stuff that was not great in there too. But point being, I was starting to kind of get back into the Marvel stuff a bit, so I don't know. It's sad. I'll stop talking so we can move
No,
on,
it's all
but
right.
it's definitely a whiff.
All right, so moving over to topic number 3, it is official. The ESA has officially kind of put E3 to bed. E3 is no longer happening. It said, as reported by the Washington Post, the ESA has officially deemed E3 dead. I guess they kind of blamed the COVID pandemic, which I guess
I did
is
kick this off. I mean, it was treading down, but
yeah.
shutting it down just killed every bit of momentum. So,
Mhm.
and we've talked about this a lot. I mean, I do kind of want to just, acknowledge that's officially a thing. I'm sad about it. Like, Jeff Keighley 3, whatever you want to call it, is
Keeley
nowhere
3.
near as interesting as this. And I'm not saying that this was perfect. This definitely was going a direction I don't think was necessarily serving it well either, but yeah, I got more excited about E3 than I ever did about VGAs or Summer Game Fest. It just felt more like an experience. Even when it wasn't good, it was this moment everybody's kind of came together. It was a big conference, so everybody got to go like from the industry and share stuff, have kind of like conversations for developers behind the doors and kick off new game projects. Like, it was just a cool, exciting time. And I'm sure something else will try to come up and take its place. Hopefully it's not all Keeley from now on, but I don't know. Something has been lost here, and I'm a little sad. So I will more in E3.
It's just kind of like the end of a bunch of like memories. Like there's so many like great moments that came out of E3. We did that. We did a whole topic, didn't we, of like our favorite E3 moments? I think we did a
Top
whole.
E3s, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
No,
Keeley hasn't done anything like that, in my opinion, that has been nearly as interesting. It's either been too curated or, I don't know, too
it's
fakey.
him and Kojima. Anything Kojima is like the biggest stuff coming out of those.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, another one. I'm not gonna. I have too much notes on this one, but Bobby Kotick finally out of Activision Blizzard as of December 29th. It is the end of a horrific era. Uh, I'm sure there's a lot of people at Activision Blizzard that don't have to look over their shoulders and watch about hide in corners. Maybe I'm making it too dramatic, but no, there was terrible things happening there. That's not dramatic.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's plenty we don't know, but there's enough we do to know that he was not doing well by his people. I'll tell you, for the past 6 months, though, I think since he was wanting this deal to go through, he got real quiet. He didn't say a whole lot, just kind of laid low. I mean, there were, I think, one or two remarks he had, but I think he was trying to avoid any last minute scandals because he was getting the biggest golden parachute he could out of this. I am sure he wanted that deal to get through so he could end this. I don't know what his takeaway from that Activision Blizzard
I
deal
have it
was, but
here.
I am sure it was immense.
I have it here. So, in terms of shares from the merger, he's gaining about $350 million from just his shares alone. And then on top of that, Microsoft, in order to get him to leave early, they had to pay him an additional $15 million just to end his. He had to just to
His
resign. They had to
contract.
pay him. They had to, yeah. So what's that? 365 million basically to walk away.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, what's next for Mr. Kotick? Is he gonna finally just ride off into the sunset and never be seen again on
People
his boat made of gold, or
people like that have that much money. It's really not about the money because their money can get them whatever they
there's a
want.
power
It's a
aspect to
power
it? Yeah.
aspect to it, and it's like they want the CEO role. They want to dictate how things are happening somewhere.
How old is Kotick? Do we know?
I
Because he's
think
been in this role or similar roles for getting close to 30 years, isn't
I
that
think he
right?
was like six. I think
That
he's
was
in
in the
his
20s.
60s. I think he's in his 60s.
Man, I mean, I know I will probably never see anywhere near that much money, but I would imagine when you get to a point, especially at that age, there's got to be more you want to do in life. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe this is all he wants to do, but man, I'd be traveling. I'm sure he's already traveled far more than that, but I don't know. Just, I wouldn't want to go back to that grind, especially when you've had such a negative public facing persona. Like, let it go, save whatever grace you still can, and just live your life doing whatever you want with your truckload of money. But who am I to say I'm poor? So
What was his name in the words of? What was his name? Was it Humongous? What was the guy from the Road Warrior guy with the mask on, big jacked? All you have to do
yeah.
is just walk away. Just walk away. I love that movie.
I guess that would be the interesting thing. We'll see if he pops up somewhere.
Yeah. So, couple quick things. Just Matt Booty over at Xbox. He's going to be taking the leading position for Kotick. I'm assuming until they fill it in, or maybe that's just his new role. I don't know. They didn't specifically say that for Mr. Boutte. So we have two more topics. We're already done, but we did have The Last of Us Online getting canceled. That wasn't inherently a surprise. I mean, I think everyone had kind of thought that project was kind of wafering around. It was in trouble anyways. And just real quick,
Sony really pull back from live service?
Was there any excitement between you guys for that project?
No, I mean, I know there were fans of was it the first Last of Us, or
I think the first one had like a fire something like that, yeah.
Something, and people enjoyed that, which, I mean, for those who are looking forward to that, I mean, I guess it's a shame. I only played The Last of Us for the story stuff, so to me, this is a kind of whatever. Not that it couldn't have been something cool, but I'm not going to miss what I didn't really have a big interest in.
Yeah. And then the last one we had was this one is a huge topic, but the day before, did you guys hear anything about this scam that was happening with this game?
We saw that crash and burn. I think at this point, anybody who's interested probably seen.
This is one of our older topics that we have on here. Yeah, this was like early December.
Yeah, for those who don't know anything about it, go watch Skill Up's kind of overview of it. He paints a pretty interesting light on it. So if you are curious, you can check him out. But it's a story. It's quite the thing that happened.
It's a story of scamming and lots of used assets, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. Which that's actually one of the most interesting aspect of it is there's a whole argument going on right now with games about used assets, which apparently is a big thing in like major game development. There's, it's actually for sale. You can buy like assets to use in projects and stuff. But apparently there's whole dialogue happening of like, how much should you use? Apparently these guys used like everything was a used asset.
I'll give you my opinion. I don't think it matters. And here's the thing, like assets like that, it's all about how you use them. Like if you're using them in a generic, bland way, it's not the asset's fault. It's your ability to design and use the assets. Like I've seen games that are completely just store-bought assets, but they're great. They use the assets well. They maybe tweak them up a little bit. They don't come across as obvious, just copy and paste assets. So that's a game design issue. That's not a where you get the assets from issue, in my opinion. Now, is it great to be able to make brand new, unique stuff all the time? Sure, but that limits developers too, especially small teams. If they have to spend months and months and months of making new models and putting animations on there when they still have all these other things they want to do. Like for me, so like if I'm doing a game development project, I know a little bit of modeling. Like Metal, I'm sure if you can stay awake, could attest to my poor modeling. He's seen some of my first early models.
He's so ecstatic about this topic.
Not anything great.
He's like, oh, modeling.
Yeah. Well, I think it is somewhat important because a lot of people have no idea about game dev, even at the slightest level. Just look at certain things as a dirty word or dirty concept. Yeah. If when done right, you use assets to free you up to do the things you care about in the game. Like I could spend more time scripting something and making it really engaging and have the interactions between my entities do something cool that I couldn't have done before if I was spending hours and hours modeling out a house that I don't give a crap about. So it can be used to great extent to benefit a game. In this case, they just copy and pasted it. So, I mean, this was a scam is what it was. So it was their way of just shortcutting everything. But it's not the assets, it's how they're used.
It's not only the assets they were stealing, though. They apparently stole word-for-word marketing. Like word-for-word. Like from
trailers,
Division,
shot for
like
shot. Like, was it Call of Duty, Division? There was
Division.
a Rockstar thing they copied. It was shameless, shameless. I mean, we're late on time. We need to stop.
It's just
Go watch
funny.
Skills video. It is a watch, but we'll
The
move on.
word for word marketing thing is so funny. It's beyond funny. All right, so we're done with highlights in the horde, done with speed run. So our last topic for this podcast, we're doing very good on time. Let's try and keep it to that. So we're going to be moving on to our main topic, cue the Smash Brothers Melee fisticuffs music. So we're going to be moving on to our high score Olympics for 2024. Now, before we dig into that, Metal Gamer, the spotlight's on you. You have to decide. He won our last year's high score Olympics, and I unfortunately lost. So again, our kind of reward to the winner was to decide what game the loser would get to play. And here, I guess we should hash out specifics for that. So Gamer, take it away.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that that you can. I don't know if I could say you can complete, but I wanted to kind of bring up some of the games that I figured.
Oh,
I didn't want to.
okay. Okay.
I didn't want to give you. Elden Ring.
No,
I decided against it.
but I did
There's a
tell.
reason
Be
for
nice to him.
But I did-
There's a reason for this.
No, make him
Hold on.
suffer.
No, I told.
hold on.
But I told Gamer, feel free to choose one of those games. The only thing is I don't know if I will be able to finish it. So I said, choose a time frame. Give me say I have to play it for 20, 30 hours, 40 hours.
But how we know? Well,
I don't know.
I was
Like,
gonna say, how do we know you're playing? You could just leave on the PlayStation
I
for
He's got a
30
live stream.
hours.
I stream
This
every
guy's got
game
a
I'm
live
playing.
stream.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, I'm not doing Elden Ring, but
It's fine. I'm
I
happy.
do have one. I do have one for
He's
you.
gonna choose Sekiro. It's just like that game.
Oh, you already knew.
Oh, you are? Oh.
I want you to play Sekiro.
No.
I've played it.
You're
It's
making him play a
it-
good game.
It's a good game.
Hello
Now,
Kitty Island Adventure. Come on.
oh man, we'll do like Barbie's Pony Princess
So
Brides.
you heard that here. Gamer says Elden Ring
I
is
want
not.
you. I want
not
you
a
to
good
play
game.
Sekiro.
Okay.
It is good. It is extremely difficult. I haven't beaten it yet. It is hard.
So
as
that's another thing. Do I have to beat it, or can I play it for X amount of time?
I'm gonna say that I think this game is beatable. It is beatable,
Oh my goodness.
and the reason why is because the story's so freaking good that you would want to beat it. I don't know about too much about Elden Ring, so that's why I'm just like.
I hope it's so hard. It's the only game you get to play this year. I
It
hope you're
is.
streaming till next Christmas.
I want to watch your. I want to watch your stream. of this.
I will promise to do my best to beat it, but there will come a time if I'm like 50 hours into this game, I have to play something else.
Can't stop.
You can always take a break
also
and then
juggle
come back
both.
to it. You have all year to
Oh,
finish.
that's the kind of game you cannot take a break on. I am not gonna want to.
We need a
Well,
punishment.
That's like a
So
skill
if he,
based.
let's do this. If he can't beat it this year, then going into the next Olympics, he has to take a 0 for one of the games.
No, that's a harsh
That's
punishment.
mean.
What if what if you
yeah,
just
well, I
guarantee?
don't like you very
What
much.
if you just guarantee I don't get the first pick?
Oh.
Just guarantee I get 2 or 3. I can't have the first pick.
Well,
A 0,
maybe.
a, z,
We'll
a 0,
deliberate a punishment. We'll deliberate a punishment.
A 0
Same
guar-
time
We'll
for
think
today.
about that.
but a 0 guarantees a loss. At least if you prevent me from having even give me the 3rd pick. To do that, say I have the 3rd pick of the first round if I don't finish Sekiro. So at least
Okay.
like I have a
I
chance.
can get behind that.
I don't have a chance. Like I have a chance to win, but I'm like taking a substantial knock for that year.
So you agree? So are you agreeing with this game?
Gosh, I'll agree.
Okay.
I'm
would you like
mildly-
to know
It's a puzzle game.
Would you like to know what the other game was gonna be? I had 2 of them.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't even know what else it would have been.
I was thinking along the lines of Lords of the Fallen.
Why'd you only choose those games? I was gonna say Liza P because I know that's another one that came out recently.
That was another choice I looked into. I was like, I heard this one was kind of difficult, but
You should have chosen like, aren't the old Ninja Gaiden games like really hard?
I would have made you play Ghouls and Ghosts for all I
Oh.
care.
Oh, Ghouls
You
and
know,
Ghosts.
I would have made you play Ghouls and Ghosts, not the freaking Super Nintendo
Like
version either. That
what
one's
is it?
really hard.
Like the OG Xbox Ninja Gaiden games are called some of the hardest games ever.
Oh yeah, Ninja
Oh
Gaiden
yeah,
Black, Ninja
absolutely.
Gaiden 2, those were rough. I honestly almost think they're harder than some of like the
I agree.
Dark Souls kind of stuff because they're not just patterns, like they get cheap. But
Well,
Yeah,
thank goodness we already chose. So
that's fine.
yeah,
You're gonna have a lot of fun with this.
Sekiro, at least like the theming to me is more enticing than Elden Ring.
It's good and it's really good. It's based in like Edo Japan type stuff. So
All right, so
I think
yeah.
you would enjoy it. I think the story is good. It's very dark. Oh, it's so good.
So I'll try and start
But it's hard.
Sekiro sometime this week, maybe on the weekend, maybe Friday or Saturday night.
Hopefully,
I'll give it a go.
enjoy.
No. All right, so we got that hashed out. My punishment for losing if I don't beat Sekiro. I've got all of this year to beat Sekiro. That's gonna be rough, but I think if I'm incentivized to beat it, I will. All right, so let's turn off the Smash Bros. Music. So we're going to be digging into our high score Olympics. We're going to be making our choices for this year. So real quick, each of us hopefully made a pretty substantial list of games and selections that each of us. I would think this year our big priority would be stuff that's going to come out, seeing as how that's how I lost basically.
Yeah.
killed us last year. Yeah.
So
Okay. Oh shit! What am I doing?
All right, so just while he's kind of getting set up for those who maybe are new to this high score Olympics game, basically each one of us are going to go kind of round robin draft pick style and pick one of 5 games. We're going to have with 5 games that are our picks, and basically at the end of the year, we're going to take the Metacritic scores for those 5 games, average them out, and amongst us 3, whoever has the highest average, they win. And then they get to pick the punishment or the game to play, which for the loser, which that would be the person who gets the lowest average. So basically a draft pick style. I was trying to push these guys to make it more challenging this year, but apparently they weren't up for it just yet. So next year maybe we'll make this a little more competitive in some ways. But I think we'll keep things pretty even and pretty simple for right now, right?
Yeah,
So
down
we're
in the
just gonna
comments,
do a
throw any
random ordering.
suggestions. Phoenix had like X amount of RPGs or certain studios you couldn't have multiple of their titles.
Yeah, restricted by like either genre or studio, like a little more like an actual draft pick, like you can only have certain positions. But I think we kind of came up with that thought a little late, and I didn't want to postpone it too much. So for now, just whatever games we pick that haven't already been chosen. So I know Chaz is going to do a quick random order selection up there. So the order you see up there right now is not accurate, so it's not necessarily starting with me and then Gamer. He'll rotate it here in a minute, and once it's set, you don't run it again. We're just going to stick on that rotation until everybody's chosen 5 games.
So for
Right?
for every round, because last year we did it after every round. We reset it.
Oh, did we? I don't even recall that.
Yeah, you did that last year. I remember you reset it after every pick or every round. I mean,
I mean that definitely will make
that makes it more fair, I think, for everybody.
it'll be more fun.
Okay. Never mind. Forget me. I don't know the rules of this game, so
Well,
it's
remember,
all Chaz me.
I watched it last year, and I just watched it, so we definitely did that.
Okay.
Is that the
Fair
only
enough.
other
Let's
view?
do that then.
That's the other view on that video. Is you?
Oh, sure.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay, so should we go on one, or should I do it a couple times to make sure this thing's working? Just hit it once?
No, we gotta do it. Whatever the next thing is. Yep.
All right, here we go. 3,
Oh my gosh.
2, 1.
Big money, big money, big
Oh,
money.
Phoenix, dang it.
Nice.
There you go, gamer.
Damn it.
Man, that stinks.
Oh, that's almost actually harder because now I gotta pick.
I thought with me on the
out of one
bottom,
of
I thought
two.
with me on the bottom, for some reason, it was going to give me 1. I got unlucky there.
All right, so I got 2. I'm looking at.
Let me get
I'm
my phone out.
You get to pick what?
Oh, who do I? Oh man, I almost didn't want the first pick because
You wanted it.
you're gonna pick whatever the other one I don't pick is.
Sucks to be last.
Okay, I am going to go with Final Fantasy VII.
You have to.
Damn it.
That's what I'm gonna choose if I was first.
Yarg.
Yeah, I mean there was another one that I think has a real good chance of being as high a score, if not higher, but oh man, I just want Final Fantasy. I'm sorry, Metal.
Yeah,
I know that was in your
that was
pocket.
my pick. Dang it.
So Final Fantasy Rebirth goes
Sorry.
towards
It's
Phoenix.
okay.
I mean, yeah, that's a solid pick, man. That's probably, I don't want to say foolproof, but you're gonna get at worst
You know it's gonna be good.
at worst high 80s. You know,
I don't remember what the first one got. Does anybody recall? Out of curiosity.
I can. Oh shoot.
I'm
Oh, no, you guys
sure.
can
I'm
go and
sure
move
it
on.
got a.
I'll look it up. You guys don't need to take away.
I'm sure it got a really high score.
Mm-hmm. So this is gonna be tough for me because I actually have two here that I don't know which one I want. One of them I know is coming out this year, and the other one I don't know. So that's what's tough for me here.
87, by the way, for Final Fantasy.
That's actually lower than I thought.
So I'm actually gonna
Pretty relieved.
I'm gonna surprise Phoenix. I'm not gonna choose the one that I don't know is coming out this year. I'm gonna go with a title that's something that I know has a date, and I know a lot of people are excited for, and it is not a game type that is something I'm excited for. So I'm gonna
Do it.
I'm gonna go with a game called Black Myth Wukong. If you guys haven't heard of it,
Okay.
Mm.
again, this is the next big like Dark Souls like or Souls like game. I believe it's made by a oh gosh, don't I think it was a Vietnamese. Is it Vietnamese? I know it's an Asian country. It's or is it
Based off
Korean?
Chinese. It's based off Chinese mythology, so it's
Yeah, but it's
this
not
year.
made by. I don't remember who it's made by.
This year,
Oh,
it's an upcoming action play a game by Chinese developer Game
oh, it
Science.
is a Chinese. See, for some reason, I didn't think it was a Chinese developer. But yeah, it's a game that those people that love the Souls-like games are super excited for this game, and I'm banking on that it's gonna be good, and that it's gonna get high scores because I know it's coming out this year. They at least put a date on it for this year. I had another game that I wanted to pick, but I haven't gotten definitive dates for it yet. So that's the only thing that made me like, my heart goes with that game, but I'm trying to prioritize what's coming out this year. So Black Myth Wukong for me. What do you guys
I know
think?
what game you're
Is that a
talking
good?
about. I think that's a solid pick. I mean, it's a little bit of a unknown, but yeah, I've seen good things about it, so that could work in your favor.
It's almost like a gamer's shot at Armored Core, where it's like it's a Souls like, but although Armored Core wasn't really a Souls like, it was made by that team. But like, I meant that game was kind of an unknown quantity, I guess.
Yeah, that was my
Well, that
shot
one
in
he
the
had
dark.
FromSoft behind it, which I think was kind of running the train on that one. But yeah,
All right, so gamer, you have quite the pick. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
There is. It's just, obviously Final Fantasy's been taken, so that's kind of out of the question. It's okay. That's okay. I'll eat my 0 and I'll have a piece of cake.
You can always
So I'm gonna
bank
go.
on Metroid 4. That's coming out.
That's not even on the list, you jerk.
Do Metroid 4.
Man.
Nintendo might surprise us.
Yeah. Okay.
Metroid 4 in chat. All you, everyone in chat. Let me see how many are
Oh my
there.
God.
Nobody's there.
Nobody. Well, we're doing this for fun.
Yeah.
So I have two picks
You
here
guys are having
that
fun.
I guess I have two picks here that are pretty that are pretty good. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna start off with Warhammer 40K.
Oh. Oh,
There's
okay.
Space Marine 2 coming out this year, and I know that Space Marine 1 did really well.
That game's been pushed back a couple times, so hopefully that
yeah,
does indeed. But I think they already announced like
but I
the
think they announced the date
collector's
already.
edition. The collector's edition has already been announced and everything.
Yeah, so I think there is a date.
What was it called? Warhammer 40K.
Space Marine 2.
Space Marine 2.
So I'm gonna take my chances on that one.
Okay, that's I feel like that one's gonna do well. I just don't know if that's gonna. I feel like that's probably gonna be low 80s. I don't know. Am I wrong on
Maybe.
thinking that?
There's a lot of people who love 40K, man.
It depends. They've had a couple of really high ones, but
And
they've
then
also had
there's
some really low ones. It could go either way.
oh yeah. So I'll play with some fire.
Hmm.
I think it'll be kind of fun.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
Okay, so randomize it again, or do we agreed we wanted to do that? Randomize it every round.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we did last year. I'm okay with that. If you think that'll make it a little more interesting, I'm all
Spicy.
for it.
I do.
I think it's a little more spicy.
Well, that's how fantasy works, and football is like, yeah, it goes. Well, fantasy football, it's not randomized. They go back to front. So like they'll go Phoenix, ChazmaN, Gamer, then Metal Gamer gets the first pick, then I get the second, then you get the third, and then it goes. It rotates back and forth. Where like, I don't know. We could do that, but
I think randomize it
I feel like randomized is kind of fun.
randomize it again. Keeps everything up in the air.
You just don't want the third pick.
Or
All
the
right.
first.
Maybe.
First one was pretty
Here
cool.
we
Only
go.
benefit from randomizing.
Yeah. Here we go. 3, 2, and a 1. Did it happen? Or did it
Yeah,
give
yeah,
us...
because I'm still number one.
I can't tell. Oh, I should have looked over here. Timestamp was...
It didn't change. No, just do it again. Do it one more.
Are you a Fowler? Oh.
There we go.
Oh, I regret what I said. No,
Nice.
no, it was right the first time.
All right. So this...
Oh, boy.
Oh, this one's tough. Do I choose the game I was going to pick before? But that game still doesn't have a date on it. Oh.
Nah.
Let me look it up real quick.
Oh my god,
No,
what a jerk. You can't just do that.
You pick now. You had time to do research.
You're wasting
You're gonna
time.
research, you gotta do it in between picks. 5,
What a
4,
jerk.
3, 2,
all right.
1.
I'll put down the phone. I'll pick the phone back up.
What a jerk. Wasting time. Some of us are
Because I already
sleeping
know
here.
Phoenix is gonna pick this up if I don't take it.
You don't know
Well,
nothing.
say
You know
it.
what I'm gonna do.
Do it. But the hate flow.
I have another pick, but that one's...
He's contemplating.
All right, Phoenix. I'm gonna do it to you. I think I'm gonna go with Hades 2. I think I have to.
Good.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna fill it in. Hades 2. I made this pick last year, and I was confident this game was gonna come out last year, and to my dismay, it did not. And they released like a gameplay trailer and everything, so I can't believe.
You want to know why I did not pick it?
Why?
Because when it comes out this year, it's coming out in early access, which does not get Metacritic scores, and Hades 1 was in early access for like 22 months.
Really? I didn't know that. Oh, wow. That's my fault then for not doing research, I guess.
Well, for the
I mean,
best.
I could be wrong. They might now. I mean, now they have the Hades 1 under their belt, maybe it'll be a much quicker turnaround. But that one, I wanted to go Hades 2. Like honestly, that's the game that I think when it comes out will probably be one of the highest rated games on my list for sure. But it's real sketchy, and I didn't want to risk picking that when I'd be off by a few points picking another game. So.
All right, yeah, I'll roll with it. We'll see, for funsies, I guess. I picked it last year, so I guess I feel like I had to.
Funsies.
No, you didn't have to.
All right, Metal Gamer, you're up.
All right, Metal.
Okay. I want to go with at this point. It will be. I want to choose Like a Dragon. I think that one's gonna do pretty well.
Oh, Like a Dragon, Infinite
on my
Wealth.
list.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that one's a good one.
They've done really well. They always hit like mid 80s, high 80s.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the Yakuza game, and the last one was so freaking good. So
this
I think
one's called, what is it? Infinite Wealth? Is that it?
Infinite Wealth. Yeah.
So I think that one's gonna do with the new name and everything. It's still gonna be the same game.
Well, what was super interesting with our picks last year is like all of our picks, if I remember, came out in the last 3-4 months. So like for like the whole first half of like last year, almost none of our games came out except for I had Hogwarts Legacy, which was kind of funny. But this one, I feel like we already have Final
Interesting.
Fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hesitant to pick anything towards the end of the year, but I don't know. There's a couple in here that are coming out later I might still go with. We'll see. But that's a good pick.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, like
So-
all of the Yakuza games, they're not called Yakuza anymore. I like Yakuza. I think that sounds better, but
Well, there's so many Yakuza. I think they wanted to rebrand it a little bit. And, like a dragon.
Makes
It's
sense.
still cool.
mhm. All right, Phoenix, your turn.
All right. Sorry, Chaz. I'm doing Sinuous Saga Hellblade 2.
That was that the other game? Yeah, that was the
That
two.
was
I was
definitely on
like,
your list.
You had that pick last. Yeah.
mhm. So
Yeah, and I haven't played the first one, so I'm taking a bit of a reach here because I don't know. I think the last one scored like the low 80s. I just know that Microsoft is banking on this one a little bit. At least I imagine they are. This is kind of their big game for this year, right? I can't think of many other things they really have on the docket. Granted, with that being said, Starfield was their big game last year.
that's
We
I
see how
picked
well that's turned
I
out.
picked Starfield last year.
What was the Metacritic on? I think the Metacritic though was decent on
It was
Starfield.
like
It's just over the past.
it was like low mid 80s. Yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I think it just more had a bad reception after the fact more than anything else. So I don't know. I'm hoping they're putting all their resources into Hellblade too. So here we go.
No. Okay, so we all got two. So time for another mix up here. I will keep an eye out to make sure this one does it. All right, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, so it definitely did.
Oh, that's gay.
Oh, okay.
This is like my birthday.
Oh man.
This is stupid.
All right, Phoenix gets
All right,
another
so this
first pick.
one it starts to get interesting now because I'm kind of getting into my mid-ish tier games, like the ones I'm really not too sure about. There's one more I really want to pick. I'm probably going to go with it now, but there's a few others that could go a bunch of directions. I'm going to go with Persona 3 Reload. Oh, well, can I do that actually?
Isn't that a remake?
That is, it is.
Essentially?
I guess I was feeling like it was maybe going to be more different. Maybe not though. Okay, I'll let you guys decide on that because we did talk
Persona
about that. One of the
3.
rules we have.
Yeah.
We said no remakes or remasters unless it was something we felt like they were doing some drastic changes to, which is why like last year I think we allowed Resident Evil 4, this year Final Fantasy.
Yeah, you
I
did
guess I
take
didn't really
Resident
think
Evil
about it.
4 last year, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot about this game to be fair. I guess I'm just imagining it's going to be more of a like reimagining to a certain extent, but maybe not enough. I'm going to let you guys decide that. If you don't want me to pick that one, I'll go with a backup. But
Is
it's
it
up to you.
is it a major change up? I don't know though. Like
So I don't know. I guess that's the thing. There's not enough. I mean, for what I've seen, the trailer looks different enough, but they haven't released a huge amount about it that I've really seen as far as like big changes. So it maybe is too much of an unknown. So if you want me to go ahead and skip by it, I can. I
I'll
guess the
let
reason I think it's not going to be like a straight remake is they've had Persona 3, then they had Persona 3 Portable. So I feel like this is going to be kind of its own thing because Persona 3 Portable was its own thing. It took the whole game and made it isometric. So I'm curious if they're going to take the game and make it more Persona 5e, which would be a different thing, but
It says here
I
that
don't know. You guys can do a vote.
it says here that it says Reload contains additional scenes not featured in the original game or any of its re-releases, including new party interactions, dialogue, and voice cutscenes. So every social link route is completely voiced.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of little things. So
if it's a
Maybe
substantial
nothing
one,
major
I
enough
think I'm
though.
okay with it, seeing as how we let you have 4 last year. But I'll say whatever Gamer decides, we'll go with. What do you think, Gamer? He got Resident
I
Evil
guess
4
4,
last year.
honestly, from what I saw, wasn't a major reimagining either. Like they changed like some core gameplay stuff, but it ended up being, I think, pretty close to the
Okay, so
original. So
it says here Persona 3's director and producer confirming no change story content for the characters, but those are not remake games. They are enhanced versions of the vanilla games.
That doesn't.
okay, so this is really close to the original. Okay,
So it's
that's fair.
not a remake.
Wait, so it's not a remake? So you're saying it's 2 1-to-1? Is that what you're saying?
It's saying that it's
Or it's
like it's an enhanced version of a vanilla version, meaning like saying
Okay.
like it's
Not a reimagining, so it is more of a okay.
right.
I'll repick
So
then.
we'll yeah.
I mean, on Wikipedia,
Okay.
it calls it a remake.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I don't know. That's
I think there's been enough for what you guys looked up to kind of say it probably be too close to the original, so that's fine. All right. Never mind. I'm sorry. I should have thought through that one a little more.
it's all good.
Let me go with. Okay, so I have another two. I'm going to go with something a little different. I'm going to choose Dragon's Dogma 2.
oh,
That was on my list,
I
you
have that
jerk.
on I have that on my list too.
Damn. Oh well. That's okay. Now I have to pick something different.
I have that, and I was thinking about 3 or 4.
Damn.
I was thinking about waiting until pick 4 to pick that up
It's
too.
all good. It's all good.
Okay, so Phoenix so far has
Man.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua
Damn.
Saga, Hellblade 2, Dragon's Dogma 2. Those are pretty strong.
Yeah, they are.
Bring it on, fellas.
It's okay. Don't get your hopes up here.
Oh, I forgot I'm up next, aren't I? I think Dragon's Dogma 2 is a good pickup. I never played the first one, which I actually have it on my shelf behind me. I should probably play that at some point.
You got like every game ever made behind you on the shelf.
That's
Just
No, I
so you're aware,
don't.
the first Dragon's Dogma only got a 75 on
Hmm.
Metacritic. Dark Arisen got an 81, which is kind of like a pseudo sequel. So I don't know. It's not a shoe-in. We'll see.
Capcom, they make Monster Hunter, don't they? I was gonna say
Yeah, and they've been
Monster Hunter is super big nowadays, so Dragon's Dogma is probably not
Capcom just in
far.
general has been
Yeah.
hitting hard, like between Monster Hunter and Resident Evil and what else? Street Fighter. Like they have been doing some high marks. So we'll see.
So with me being up, I'm tempted to do one of two things to do something we didn't do last year.
Get a girlfriend.
Yeah. All right. I in last year's video, I ridiculed Gamer for not picking one of these, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with a fighting game that comes out this year.
Ooh.
I'm gonna
I know
choose.
I
where it's
wonder
going.
which one he's gonna pick.
I'm gonna choose Tekken 8 that comes
Of
out
course you are.
very soon.
So
Were you
you're
gonna
choose multiverses.
Jesus.
Were you gonna pick that up, Gamer?
I
Were you
mean,
thinking about it?
I had it on my list in the case of like as like a backup, but
So
oh
the main reason why I picked that is Street Fighter 6 scored really well. This last one that just came out.
fighting
And
games score well in general.
yeah, and Tekken is very popular. I think everyone knows Tekken at this point.
I love Tekken.
But I don't
Tekken
know.
Tag, man, that was my game.
Tekken, man.
Tekken Tag was so good. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought I'd be kooky and go out on a limb, pick a fighting
You're a
game.
jerk.
I think it's a pretty solid bet. Me, I think Metal's right. Fighter games or fighting games usually score pretty well. I
They're
think
very
probably the
niche
one that
audience.
missed
Yeah.
was Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
But most of them have done really well.
So Tekken 8 comes out. Oh, that comes out in a couple weeks. Oh, I'll have an early,
All
an
these
early
games come
edition.
out pretty soon.
Jerk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
It's okay. All right. Well, it's my turn. Yay.
So yeah.
So, since we're on the Konami bit, I saw this. Usually, these games are kind of a hit or miss on my point, from my point of view. But I like them. I think they're super fun. I'm gonna go a little bit on the whim on this one. It's been a while since I've seen one, so I'm hoping it does pretty well. So I'm looking at Contra Operation Galuga.
What the heck? A Contra
I like
game.
Contra games. Yeah, there's a Contra game coming out this year, and I was like, "Ooh, a Contra game!" And I
Didn't the
know
last
usually.
one scored really badly?
Which one was that one?
There was one that came out a while back. There were like two recent ones. I think the most recent did okay. The one before it tanked. So
Yeah, I'll take a chance on it. Usually, Contra games are hit or miss depending on how they make them, who makes them, and what kind of crap they're doing with
I
it.
did not even have a Contra game on my list, so good on
well,
you.
so at least on what I've been pulling from that Contra game is a to be announced for this year. So it's technically 2024, but there's no firm date. So this could be
It can be pushed off.
anywhere.
Okay,
Yeah. So
I'll take my
interesting.
chances. Yeah, I'll take my chances.
That's
me.
also
I am brave.
it's also a remake.
What?
Operation Galuga is a thorough reimagining of the run and gun action game from the 80s. So is that
You're a goofball. Get out of here. That's Contra.
Okay, well, I think the key thing is reimagining. Like,
okay, that's not a
I
remake.
think
Because
there's a
isn't
well, even with
every
that, there is
Contra
going to be
reimagining?
so.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
I think here's the thing: if it's from the '80s, like I think you've got enough, hopefully
Okay.
generational gap there that whatever they put out is going to feel different enough. I'll give you that.
I just saw
yeah.
something said a remake. I'm like, oh, okay. If you guys
Well,
feel it's okay, we're good.
have you played every other? Have
I'm
you
good
ever
with
played
that.
a Contra game?
Sure.
Of course not. It sounds like you have. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty much run and gun, dude. Like they're all run and guns.
Okay.
Like if you
Okay.
haven't played a run and gun game, I don't know what to tell you. A
I'm.
reimagining.
That's
You
old.
know what they're going by? They're reimagining of the original.
Those are
Like,
old man
come on,
games. We're
that is an old man game. That is true.
young man over here. Oh, okay.
All right,
So
two
we
more.
got our first
Roll
3
those
picks.
dice.
So let me keep my eyes on this. Make sure this does go. So 3, 2, 1.
Phoenix.
Oh,
Okay.
did I get the first pick before or no? Oh, you did.
I had it
what?
first. I switched you and me. Metal still hiding at the bottom.
I feel like
It's okay.
Gamer's getting the short end of the straw on these, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I'm getting some garbage picks this time. It's okay.
Sorry.
All
Nah,
right.
it's all right.
So let me see what I got.
It's all right.
So there is a game of a series that's coming out soon. A lot of people are talking about.
Oh, I think I know. It's what I want.
So I know if I take that, I take that ahead of Phoenix.
Do what you gotta do.
I don't think I'm gonna choose that though. There's another title I'm thinking of. Let me make sure this comes out this year.
No, you get to pick. You had your research time.
Really?
Yes. We
Okay.
had weeks to pick new games.
All right, so I'm gonna choose this game. It literally just got announced. Had a gameplay trailer and everything during the Game Awards. It looked really cool. It looks like it's in my wheelhouse. Wheelhouse, is that the term? I don't know. My wheelbarrow. I don't know.
You,
If you don't know, this game is made by Moon Studios. It's made by the people who made Ori. So Ori games, all 1 and 2 were both reviewed very well, had great scores. This game again looks really cool. I'm very interested in it. I did a review on it actually. It's on the channel. But it's a game called No Rest for the Wicked. Again, this game just got announced a few months ago. Moon Studios is a very talented studio. They make quality games. I'm hoping this is another kind of big shot for them. Now, I'm tempted to see if Phoenix chooses the game I was gonna choose, but I switched over to this one. So Phoenix, go ahead.
Oh, you're too nice. That No Rest one is also one that's a TBA for 2024, by the way. So
Oh, is
that
it?
could move around. At
I
least
already
on I'm
chose
looking
it.
at Game Informer's list. All right. I think you know what I'm picking. I'm picking the Prince of
Prince of
Persia,
Persia.
Lost Crown.
I thought about that. Yeah.
I know a lot of people were kind of lukewarm on this. When I saw it, I thought that looked pretty good. Like kind of a 2D stylized Prince of Persia. I don't know. I've liked a lot of the Prince of Persia games, especially, and this is not everybody's favorite, but the one that came out on 360. I don't know if you guys remember, we had like the blue and red kind of headdress scarf thing. Man, I love that game. So I don't know, not a guarantee by any means, but I don't know. I'll take a risk on it. Hoping for at least 70 something.
yeah. Releases.
Gosh. All right. So go ahead, Metal Gamer. Looks like you're up.
All right. I'm gonna go with something a little bit more familiar, but I didn't realize they were coming out with this until I saw the list. I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of neat." They usually do pretty good considering. I'm gonna choose Visions of Mana because I personally like the Mana games, and I know I haven't played the last one, but I would love to at some
That
point.
game
And
just got announced too during the Game Awards, I think.
yeah, Visions of Mana, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it's
that's my
called.
RPG.
Visions of Mana.
Yeah, that's my RPG of my list.
That's interesting.
So, yeah. I gotta play the other ones. I know, like when I played Secret of Mana, it was like my jam. Like, and I didn't even get to try out Trials of Mana. So I guess there's Trials of Mana, and then that's it.
I feel like
Yeah,
your
there's 3. Yeah.
Hmm.
this round has probably been the most interesting one out of the 3. Like, I feel like any
Most
one
of the
of
big
these
games
3.
are kind of selected now. Yeah.
Yeah. No Rest for the Wicked. Again, I thought it was more set in stone for this year, but maybe it sounds like I'm wrong on that. Prince of
Also,
Persia.
might be. I don't know.
Prince of
I don't know.
Persia
There's
is
still a few.
Prince of Persia has been early reviewing very well. I think that's why I thought about going with it, but it's Ubisoft. I was just worried about the Ubisoft aspect, but granted, this is a different type of game than what they've been kind of crapping out as of late. but and then Visions of Mana is interesting. I mean, that's like a long running franchise, right? Like a
Oh
ton of them.
yeah.
Oh
Super
yeah.
Nintendo.
Oh yeah. It's a long running game.
All right. So is this
Yeah.
the last round? Sheesh, we're already on the last round.
Final roll.
So here we go. And a 3 and a 2. There we go.
Alright.
Gamer finally got a first
That's
pick.
fair.
Oh my god, are you serious? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
On
Woke
the
up
on the
finally.
5th round.
Oh crap. I don't know. I have 2, but I'm not sure which one's gonna do well. I don't know which is. You know what? At this point, I've been hitting bottom of the barrel kind of stuff lately, so I guess I just don't give a crap. At least maybe if I choose a game at the end of if you guys choose a game at the end of the year for me, at least I'll be able to play something. So I'm gonna take my chances on
So
this.
sad.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna take my chances. I don't know how well this is gonna do. This is probably the most goofiest thing I've seen in a while.
Unicorn Overlord, right?
No, I saw it.
Metroid
Not
4.
interested. That's pretty tacticy kind of game. I'm not into
Yeah.
tactics. A lot of people are.
Are
I'm
you
not.
gonna choose that weird walking game for PlayStation? What is the weird indie one where you play the fat guy that can't walk? You have to struggle to take steps. What was
Oh,
that one?
walk. That's called steps, isn't it? Or
Because you
take
play you
taking steps or some crap like
you
that.
play a fat guy getting off the couch for the
Yeah,
first time in like years or something.
yeah. I think it's ridiculous. I
I
would
haven't
like.
seen that.
I'm not gonna pick that. Yeah, I think it's called. Yeah, I think it's called baby steps or some
Baby
crap
steps.
like
Yeah, I
that.
think so. You're right. Yeah.
It's a stupid fucking. It
it
looks
looks
fun. I'm not gonna lie. It
it
does
looks
look fun.
fun. It looks good.
I'm trying. I don't know if I'm playing safe or not, but I'm just gonna kind of do it. So this one comes out relatively soon. I don't know if it's gonna do well. I'm just gonna shoot in the dark. I'm gonna shoot a blank here. I'm gonna go with Princess Peach Showtime. No one has picked a
Oh,
Nintendo game,
okay.
That
Huh.
so
was on my list.
yeah, I'm picking Showtime. Just because it was interesting enough to catch my interest, because it's really weird. I guess it's weird.
What was that other one? Super Princess Peach was like her last kind of
Her last game. That
what
was
you
for the
call it?
3DS.
Headliner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Trying to recall what that got. I
I
got a
feel like
75. I
I
know
feel
people
like
love that game now.
I feel like that's the only Nintendo game that's like set in
On
stone
this list.
for this year.
No, there's another.
There's a few. They have quite a few.
Like a
I
Mario themed
got
one?
one to put on my list. Maybe.
Huh.
I'm
Well,
gonna say it in
there's
case.
what? No, I'm not gonna say nothing.
That's
Well,
fine.
as a matter of fact, you wouldn't be able to choose it anyway. So yeah, they have 1,000 Year Door coming out, which is this year.
That's a remake.
Oh, that's not the one I'm talking
Remaster,
about.
or
That's
whatever.
what I'm saying. That's why I decided to say it. Trinks. Be smart.
Yeah, there's another one.
No,
Yeah, there's some
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's my pick. I'm taking my chance.
Okay, so my final pick. Oh gosh, I have no idea. Um, because there's a game I chose last year. I still don't know if that game's ever coming out this year though.
Oh boy. Do it.
Uh,
Do it. You already have one game that you don't know if it's gonna come out.
yeah, but again, I feel like I should prioritize something coming out this year.
Peer pressure, peer pressure, peer pressure.
Do it. Do
Because if we're
it.
talking about by the heart, I would probably go with Fable, but I have no idea if that's ever coming out. Any
If
of
that
the
game,
X,
if that
would
game
be a
came out, man,
choice.
that'd be
any
insane.
of the Xbox stuff that's like way down the line, just you don't know. You don't know when any of that stuff's coming out. So, gosh, there's only one I'm looking at that I'm pretty sure is coming out this year. Um, oh goodness. All right, you know what? I'm gonna choose it because I think it's coming out. So
Gollum. Just kidding.
I column. So I'm gonna
Valentula
choose.
Smeagol's return.
Eagles return -5 on the Metacritic score.
So I'm gonna choose something that I'm more sure of is coming out this year. It's the last like major AAA game I see really. Um, I'm gonna choose Star Wars Outlaws. It's the only other
Interesting.
big title that I know is coming out.
Hmm.
Um,
Star Wars. A
all
lot
the
of
other
Star Wars games coming out this year.
all the other titles I have are like if, whats, and maybes. That's the only one that I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be out.
That one didn't. There was just something about that, where what Disney or someone tried to put a firmer date on it, and then the developer's like, "Oh no, it's gonna be later in the year." So that made me kind of like cagey about it.
No.
I think I could be wrong. I'm thinking of something else, but I thought there was something about that game in particular recently regarding its release date. Maybe they were sharing it up. I don't know.
A
But,
lot of the other games I have are like Xbox titles that are like
mhm.
iffy, and I was just like, I'm cagey on picking, like Fable, or there's a couple other ones that are like, I don't know. So I'm all good, Phoenix. It looks like you're. Oh no, I just put that
Okay,
for you.
I'm it. I get to pick the Yeah, don't give me that game.
I
This is it. I get to bring it home. All right, so it doesn't
Do
matter
it.
what I talk about now because nobody can take anything.
I did
Yeah,
that
I
last
would
year.
not have picked Fable. I feel like
No,
Fable would have shot you in the
I
foot.
wouldn't.
Like, I don't think that game's coming this year at all.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have picked that
Um,
either.
all right, so I'll tell you what, I'm gonna tell you the other games that are on my list because at this point I don't care, and then I'll tell you which one. I'm pretty sure I know which one I'm gonna pick, but the other Mario game, and I don't think it's a remake. I think they're just reusing the name Mario versus Donkey Kong. So they're
Oh yeah,
bringing that.
Hmm.
I don't think it's a
Maybe
remake,
there's
but
another one I'm missing too.
You know
I think
what?
it's just another
I'll
installment in
throw
the
it out there just to
franchise.
be cool. But they did just announce World of Goo 2. I don't know if that's like.
That's on my list.
no.
Hmm.
That's there. That one's. I'm worried that's gonna be one that's gonna come out like
Early
early, or
early
maybe not
access or
release.
something.
I doubt it's gonna be a game they're gonna do much modification. Yeah. Like I want to pick World of Goo. I'm not confident about that coming out. I don't know. Then I had Star Wars Outlaws. We'll take that away. That was a possibility. Princess Peach was on my list. South Park Snow Day was
Hmm.
sitting here. I wasn't too keen on the trailer, to be honest. Like I didn't like the 3D thing it was going for, but the last two South Park games were great. So there
There
was
is
that.
one.
I
There is.
had
Oh no, good. No, I was
no
gonna say
good.
there is one big game. It's a game that I picked last year. That's the game I was thinking of. I won't say it because I don't want you to have to
Oh
pick.
wait, don't say it because I think it's on my list.
Okay.
I think
It's a big
the other
game,
one's
but
on my
who knows if
list.
it's coming.
Um, I had Killer Clowns from Outer Space on here just because
I
that'd be
thought
funny.
about that too.
I think I saw that game. Yeah.
Last one on my list though, and it's the one I think I'm gonna pick. It's a little bit of a unknown, like there's not an official date, but it seems pretty sure for 2024. I think this is the game you're talking about, Avowed.
No, not the one I was
Or is that
thinking of.
not? No, that's not. Oh, yeah. I know people are a little up in the air on this one, but it's Obsidian. And it's Obsidian we
Mm,
trust. I don't know. I'm kind of holding on. That would be pretty good, and I'm hoping it comes out this year. So that's kind of my unknown on the list. But
hmm.
what was the other one you were thinking of?
Um, Game that reviewed really well. A game I chose last year was Hollow Knight Silk Song. I would assume that game has to come out. They announced it for last year, and it got
I don't know.
Yeah.
presumably pushed to
It
this
doesn't
year.
even. It doesn't even say it
I didn't
anyway.
even see that on the like when I search for that on my list, it's not
That
even
game might
there.
be
Or
in
like
limbo. That game
I
might be
would
in
have.
limbo. Might be in limbo right now.
or it could come out in early access or something. Like that's one that right now I'm like, ooh. So so those are our lists. Yeah, happy with my picks. Feel like most of those will probably be real games.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Chaz didn't choose Dragon Ball. Sparking Zero.
Oh,
Oh,
You know,
I'm
'cause
surprised you
we
were
love Dragon Ball
tempted.
games so much.
I'm surprised you were tempted for South Park. Like I didn't even think I knew that game, but I wasn't like that wasn't on my list.
only because the first two were so good, but this third one's taken a pretty big departure. So
Mm.
I don't know. I'll tell you though, like looking at the games, like I know last year I thought was a little disappointing, but this year looks
This
even
year.
more light.
Yeah.
There's some big ones. If some of these big ones really come out, like Hades 2, that could paint this whole year for me. I loved the first Hades, so if that comes out and that's great, that could be a really, really high point.
I'm
Final
actually,
Fantasy 7 is a really big one.
I think I might be more excited for this year. Like No Rest for the Wicked, Hades 2, Senua Saga, Final Fantasy, Dragon's Dogma, Avowed. I'm excited for. Warhammer looks cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff.
I think I could probably agree with that. Last year, I think the reason I was disappointed is none of those games, even though they were really good, were like really like my game, like my type of game.
These are
right?
more my type
There's
of
a
games.
few on here though that could really hit hard. I mean, what do you think, Metal? What do you think as far as the outlook on 2024?
It's not terrible. I mean, there's a few games that
It's
I
aight.
feel like it's good. I don't know. It's hard to say. We'll see how it starts, and we'll see what surprise punches we get this year.
I guarantee you there's
That's
gonna
what I'm
be
excited about.
Nintendo is gonna announce a new Mario game. Almost certainly. There'll be some big new release that they're like, this will come out and
Well, the big thing for Nintendo is they're supposed to announce a
Oh, the
potentially
Switch 2?
release a Switch 2
Yeah.
this year. And
Yeah.
if they do that, there's got to be a game. I am wondering, we haven't seen a 3D Mario in a hot minute. I mean, you had Bowser's Fury, Odyssey 2.
Metroid Prime 4
No,
launch game.
maybe. I feel like they got to have something for the Switch 2 because I feel like otherwise nobody's going to run out and get a Switch 2 except for those who are just, hot for new hardware. So they'll need that big draw title. So, or Mario Kart, what, be at 9? Maybe they'll finally put a new Mario Kart out. I don't know. So that could definitely shift things up a little bit.
But yeah, like I said, there were a bunch of Xbox games. Avowed was one of them. Fable. They have the next Outer Worlds. There's so many titles that they're like kind of sitting on that it's like. I think
Too
the
up in
one
air, though.
the one is the big one is Senua's Blade, Hellblade 2. That's probably the biggest game that they've other than Starfield. That's probably the biggest game that they'll have had. And I feel like, man, they have to nail that one.
That's my rationale for picking it.
But yeah, okay, so real quick, just go back through the list, or were you going to say something? No? Okay. Real quick, just to kind of recap. So I went with Black Myth Wukong, again, kind of a brand new development studio. It's a game that a lot of people are talking about. That one's one of the more interesting ones, I feel like. Who knows where that one could go. Hades 2, hopefully that comes out this year. Tekken 8 comes out in a few weeks. No Rest for the Wicked, Star Wars Outlaws. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth for Phoenix, Senua's Blade, Dragon's Dogma 2, Prince of Persia, Avowed. The one thing I'm noticing about Phoenix is he's got a lot of well-known names. We've got 4 like legacy titles that have been around for a little bit. And then
That's I mean, Senua Saga is kind of legacy.
That's probably-
It's
that's-
the
yeah.
second in the franchise. Avowed's a brand new IP to my knowledge, so
yeah, fair enough. Metal Gamer's got Warhammer, 40k, Space Marine 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Contra, Visions of Mana, Princess Peach. Now that I think about it, Metal Gamer's probably the one with the legacy. Yeah, he's got more legacy titles than anything.
I'm playing it safe.
I think the Contra
It'll be a fun
one.
list. This will be
I think
fun.
the Contra one might bite you in the butt. 'Cause who
It's okay.
knows if it's anything like the one Contra game. No. And then Warhammer's like, I don't know, like that's kind of a niche
The
audience.
first Space Marine, that was 360 days, and that game was really solid.
Was it really?
So I know they've had other games that have dipped, but the first Space Marine, at least I recall it being pretty darn good. So here's hoping they can bring it back home again.
No. All right, everybody. Well, that was the High Score Olympics for 2024 for us. I forgot to change that screen over. But yeah, down in the comments, we would love to hear what you guys have to say. Whose list do you think is strongest? I've got a feeling Phoenix is probably has got the early lead on us there, but who knows what the year may hold.
Maybe Final Fantasy VII will be terrible. Maybe they'll still kill Aerith, and that'll just be the end of it for everybody.
Well, I mean, you had Legend of Zelda last year, and that did really good.
Mhm.
We already know that.
Alright.
So
Well, remember there were those few couple titles that moved out of 2023, which that's what really hurt us.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
I thought about picking it again. I'm still not so sure. It's not going to be a solid enough game. There's just, I don't know. It feels too icky now. I can't do it.
And Kerbal Space Program.
Forget it. Just forget
It was a
that.
really bad one.
Never existed.
Yeah.
It was bad, and it's still in early access, I think. So it's like, no, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, down in the comments, feel free to let us know what you thought about this year. Hopefully, throughout the year, you guys help us keep track of what's going on. Feel free to yell at us for how anything's doing. I don't know. Other stuff we got going on. Again, by next episode, you guys can expect that you'll have to check us out if you want to see more of the podcast. We'll be on the official EnteR ChazmaN podcast channel. Check that out there. I'll be putting out some videos to, I guess, help people guide you over there. I don't know, Phoenix Gamer, do you guys got anything to say? Anything you want to? What are you guys working on? Any games or nothing?
Not so much games. I have a couple other side projects which I'll discuss down the line. But I just want to say, anybody watching, definitely tune back in so you can watch Chaz suck at Sekiro. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a great time.
I'll schedule probably Friday or Saturday night. I will begin to delve deep.
Oh yeah, get that prosthetic arm.
Join me in the chat yelling at Chaz throughout the play. It'll be a good time.
No,
It's gonna be good.
I'm sure.
Get good.
All right, everybody. Well, that begins a whole nother year for us on the EnteR ChazmaN podcast. We had a blast. Hopefully, we continue having a blast all throughout the year. So, just want to say thank you so much to metalgamer and Phoenix, my two buddies. And once again, social media is there. Check us out on any of those. And I don't know, reach out. You can listen to us there. So, thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night. Adios.